clever shelter dog in West Virginia amazed staff by slipping out of his kennel and unlocking the front door to freedom in a daring overnight escape caught on camera. Workers at the animal center shared the funny video showing the pup's smart moves. He wandered the halls but stayed safe until found outside. The feat highlighted his talents and boosted adoption interest. Rescuers praised his spirit and hoped for a loving home soon. Andy Sanchez reporting.
I noticed that you had an online poll that asked when we thought the Trump regime would crumble. Why didn't you have the option of Tumblr? Like, that's what I would like. I didn't like the option of, it's never going to crumble. I refuse to believe that. All dictatorships crumble. I just don't want it to last as long as North Korea. We need to make sure that not only Trump himself crumbles, but the entire MAGA cult crumbles too. This is just a bad time in America. We need to get back to normal and live like we used to. Trump has got to go. The sooner the better. Thank you.
Just last year, in a Wall Street Journal article titled, "America's Young Men Are Falling Even Further Behind," journalist Rachel Wolf decided to follow a family of 6, the Morenos, all in all a normal family. The thing was, while their only daughter recently graduated from business school and got engaged, her 3 brothers, well into adulthood, are still living with their parents in their childhood bedrooms. When the father was asked about the situation, he stated, quote, "Something is amiss here. We love them. We love having them around. But that's not how you build your life." End quote. When they asked one of the sons, Daniel, if he shared this concern, he said, quote, "I just felt so lost. Nothing is really stopping me. It's just myself standing in my own way." End quote. For Daniel, a lot of this had to do with COVID. A loss of connection with his friends led him to drop out of school and become aimless. A study in 2021 by the Survey Center on American Life found that only 26% of men reported having 6 or more close friends. In 1990, it was 55%. And in 2021, those who had 0 friends were 17%. In 1990, it was 3.4%. That's a 500% increase in men with 0 friends since 1990. Research also shows that women tend to invest more in maintaining their friendships than men do, so female friendship rates tend to be higher. But while COVID may have made many men drift apart, including Daniel, something else is going on here. COVID didn't cause every man to start falling behind, and also not in the same way. In the US, the percentage of men living at home between the ages of 25 and 34 has virtually doubled since the 1980s. So what gives? Well, rising house prices are an obvious factor in the West, so there's less shame in living in a generational household, but it goes deeper. Regardless of affiliation, the broader consensus over the last 3 to 5 years appears to be that traditionally male-dominated industries like manufacturing are shrinking, while service industries are reaching all-time highs around the world. And those sectors are the ones that men aren't conventionally trained to excel in. Just the statistical reality puts young men at a disadvantage.
You're stuck in the middle with Alan Edwards.
So did you get a chance to see Donald Trump's cabinet meeting the other day? What I witnessed was not governance, it was not leadership, it was 3-hour performance of institutional degradation that should make every American skin crawl. Donald Trump's marathon cabinet meeting wasn't about policy or national priorities. It was a sycophancy show where Trump soaked up credit from his cabinet as he moved to assert personal dominance over American institutions. And leading the brown-nosed brigade was billionaire Steve Witkoff, who delivered what might be the most pathetic display of bootlicking in modern political history. Witkoff declared, "There's only one thing I wish for, that the Nobel Committee finally gets their act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel Award was ever talked about." Oh my God, the single finest candidate in history. For what? Cozying up to dictators? Undermining democratic institutions? But here's what's truly infuriating and disgusting. Multiple moments from this marathon meeting went viral for the disgusting way top officials appeared to compete in showering the president with praise. They're not cabinet secretaries, they're contestants in a flattery competition, each trying to outdo the other in their commitment and servility. This is your government, America.
Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
Suit and tie, camera flash. You walk in like you run the whole class. Every headline spinning in place. Equal justice, but I've seen that face. You pick up the call when his numbers show. Funny how fast all the favors flow. I thought that the law wore a blindfold tight. Guess she peeks when the power's right. Hey, DOJ, who you working for today? Is it the people or the king on the stage waving from the motorcade? Hey, DOJ, why you always look his way? Swore you'd keep us all the same, but you're spelling out his name.
Red tie grin, airplane stares. He's laughing like he's already cleared. You stand by, line up in rows, reading from a script everybody knows. Every maybe turns into yes sir, sure. Every hard line suddenly blurred. You say standard practice, nothing to see. Feels a lot like loyalty to me. Hey, DOJ, who you working for today? Is it the people or the king on the stage waving from the motorcade? Hey, DOJ, why you always look his way? Swore you'd keep us all the same. You had a badge, you had a vow. How did it all get twisted now? I want a truth that doesn't bend. Not a fixer dressed up as a friend. Tell me again how this is fair when he breathes and you're just there. Pen in hand, ready to defend like his own attorney till the end. Hey, DOJ, who you working for today? Is it the people or the king on the stage waving from the motorcade? Hey, DOJ, why you always look his way? Swore you'd keep us all the same, but you're spelling out his name.
Oh, no. Oh, Donald's got him hooked like a bad one-night stand. Macca's riding that train through the promised land. He lies more than a cheetah with lipstick on his collar, but they swallow it whole, yelling, make America holler. How many fibs till they wake from the dream? 1,000, a million, or till they burst at the seam? How long till MAGA dumps that orange clown? How many lies till they turn the frown upside down? Inflation's rising high like his ego in the sack. How deep does Epstein go? Pull out the facts. What will it take? A golden shower rain or Trump in the thong dancing insane? Nothing stops the coat. They're blind as a bat, screwing themselves over and loving that. Pussy grabbing tails and hush money flows, but MAGA's like fake news. That's how it goes. Inflation's blowing up, prices hitting the roof. Groceries cost a fortune, but they blame the poof. How high does it gotta climb till they see the light? Till their wallets are empty and they're screwing all night. How long till MAGA dumps that orange clown? How many lies till they turn that frown upside down? Inflation's rising high like his ego in the sack. How deep does Epstein go? Pull out the facts. What will it take? A golden shower rain or Trump in the thong dancing insane? Nothing stops the coat. They're blind as a bat, screwing themselves over and loving that. Epstein's island secrets buried deep in the sand. Trump's name in the logs with the Lolita band. How deep does the probe gotta dig in the dirt till they find the bone and it makes them squirt? Lies piling up like it's hair in the wind. Inflation's a bitch, but they're grinning in sin. What will it take? Maybe hell freezing over, or Trump admitting he's a four-leaf loser. MAGA's ride or die in this raunchy affair, sucking up the BS without a care. screaming his name. How long to make a dope, 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 to make a dope, 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 dope. What will it take? A golden shower rain or a Trump in a thong dancing insane? Nothing stops the cold. They're blind as a bat, screwing themselves over and loving that. Loving that. Loving that. Loving that.
Broadcasting live from the top of Radio Mountain, this is Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them
young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women? What did they do?
In the spa.
In the spa?
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
Welcome to the ultimate survival guide for navigating family gatherings in politically divided America, where Uncle Bob's Facebook posts have prepared you for absolutely nothing that's about to happen at Thanksgiving dinner. First rule of family politics: treat political discussions like Fight Club. The first rule is we don't talk about Fight Club. You know what everyone wants to hear about during dessert? Not your passionate dissertation on voting patterns. They want to hear about your cat's Instagram account and whether you're dating anyone. Master the art of strategic subject changing. When Cousin Sarah starts talking about election fraud, suddenly become fascinated by Grandma's recipe collection. Speaking of recipes, Grandma, tell us again about that casserole that requires 17 ingredients and 3 days of preparation. Works every time. Learn the ancient family technique of selective hearing. It's like having superpowers, but instead of fighting crime, you're fighting the urge to correct misinformation over mashed potatoes. Sometimes the best response to political rants is, this gravy is incredible. What's your secret? Remember, you can't logic someone out of a position they didn't logic themselves into. Trying to change political minds at family dinner is like trying to teach your dog calculus. Admirable effort, but you're both just going to end up frustrated and confused. Develop your arsenal of neutral responses. That's interesting. Tell me more about the potato salad. I hadn't thought of it that way. Pass the rolls. You know what? Family's what matters most. Speaking of which, did anyone see Mun's new haircut? The key is finding common ground that isn't political ground. You all love the same ridiculous family stories, the same terrible movies from the 80s, and you're all equally concerned about whether Dad is actually going to fix that squeaky door he's been promising to fix since 2019. Practice the fine art of agreeing to disagree without actually agreeing or disagree. It's like political yoga. You're flexible, but you're not breaking your spine.
Tension boiled over in Minneapolis after an immigration agent fatally shot a local woman, sparking protests and clashes with police near a federal building.
The officer fired during an encounter where officials claimed the driver tried to hit them with her car. City leaders disputed that account based on video and demanded a fair probe. State officials said federal agents blocked their access to evidence needed for charges. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Iran's foreign minister declared in Beirut that his nation desires no conflict with the United States or Israel, but stands fully prepared to strike strike back.
He arrived for a 2-day visit to Lebanon amid heightened tensions from recent U.S. bombings of nuclear facilities and Israeli killings of top officials. Iran remains open to talks on its atomic program if based on equal terms without demands. Officials stress that past attacks ended in defeat and vow readiness for all possibilities. Benjamin Wright reporting.
China blasted Japan's leader for comments hinting at military aid to Taiwan if Beijing acts aggressively. Joseph Eckerson reports.
The foreign ministry urged Tokyo to correct its errors and stop meddling in internal matters. Beijing imposed export curbs on items usable for defense and launched a probe into cheap chemical imports from Japan. A state group accused Japan of hiding nuclear goals and risking global stability.
This is the latest news headlines.
U.S. forces seized 2 oil tankers linked to Venezuela in bold ocean operations as President Trump outlined plans to sell the nation's crude.
The Navy captured 1 vessel in the North Atlantic and another in the Caribbean for breaking sanctions. Trump stated the U.S. would handle oil exports and ensure purchases of American goods with proceeds. Critics from Germany called the moves a values collapse, while polls showed split American views. Kyle Norris reporting.
States geared up for tough choices on health care and food aid programs after a major federal law shifted more costs their way.
Governors and lawmakers weighed options like work rules for medical coverage and handling extra administrative fees. Some areas planned to match tax breaks on tips, while others braced for cuts in benefits. Experts warned of rising uninsured rates and strained resources ahead. Jessica Oakley reporting.
President Trump stunned markets with surprise post barring big investors from buying family homes and capping defense firm pay until they speed up military deliveries.
Stocks tumbled as housing shares dropped sharply in response to the housing limit aimed at easing prices. Defense companies faced bans on dividends and buybacks under the new rules. Investors reacted with concern over the sudden policy shifts from the White House. Liam White reporting.
The Senate pushed forward a measure to restrict President Trump's armed actions in Venezuela.
5 Republicans crossed lines to join Democrats in advancing the resolution for debate. Trump slammed the move as harmful to national security on social media. Lawmakers sought to reclaim control over military decisions in the region. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
So these are just some of the questions you refused to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played, or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman paid taxes on the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did career prosecutors find insufficient evidence to charge James Comey? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, how are military strikes on these boats in the Caribbean legal? And you refused to even answer that question. You were asked,
law degree,
excuse me. You were asked, did you discuss indicting James Comey with the president? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did you approve the firing of antitrust lawyers who disagreed with the Hewlett-Packard merger? You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you support a restoration fund for violent insurrections to attack the Capitol on January 6th. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you were firing career professionals, career prosecutors, just because they worked on January 6th investigations. You refused to answer that question. You were asked by my California colleague whether you believe government officials, like immigration officials, have to abide by court orders. You wouldn't even answer that question. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
Lines at the store, bills in a stack. Talk is cheap, but we want it back. Clocked in, clocked out, same car, less stuff. Every check shrinking, people had enough. Big talk on the screen, but the tank's on fumes. You can feel that shit every living room. Down, 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 go to polls for the clown. We ain't buying what you're selling now. Spin that story, we just turn you down, 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 down. Go to polls for the clown. Promises pile like junk in the yard. Blame someone else when it got too hard. Fact check fatigue from the day-to-day spin. Whole crowd chanting we won't fall again. Down, 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 go the polls for the clown. We ain't buying what you're selling now. Spin that story, we just turn you down, 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 down. Go the polls for the clown. Down, 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 down. Hands up if you're done with the drama. Hands up if you broke from the great plan. We don't need another show, another camera. We just wanna live better than we have. Beat drops, true knocks. Voters in control. Watch the red line slip off the road.
Dailycast News has advertising opportunities. Get all the details by clicking on the advertise link at the bottom of any of our web pages at dailycast.news.
It's a crazy world and it's got us spinning. Through the chaos, love is what we're given. In the madness, we will find our way. With our hearts, we will light the day. Shadows fall, but we rise above. Hate won't win, 'cause we're built on love. In a whirlwind of 1,000 cries, we hold strong beneath open skies. It's a crazy world, but we'll get through it. Side by side, we'll show how we do it. It's a crazy world, but we won't quit. With our power, we can rebuild
The rich and powerful men who raped or abused them, or who were at these Epstein parties and watched rape and abuse, are their names in there? Are they going to finally face accountability? And as we search through these documents, we need to figure out whether they have hid those or whether that is actually coming out. Now, the law, as Lisa said, clearly required all unclassified information being released today. They obviously have not complied with that law. They claim that this is because it was only a few weeks. Well, they've known about this for months. They should have been preparing that. So at the very least, what we need is for the Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General to have a press conference and say, here is what we have released. Here is the timeline of what we're going to release by when to be in full compliance of the law. Here is what we've redacted, and here is why we've redacted this, which is required by the law. And so we'll see what they do.
Sharing our voices, opinions, and vital information. This is Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
More listener feedback from the Truthcast feedback line.
Thank you for doing this story on Trump's Kennedy Center Awards ratings. Thank you for reminding people how much of a flop it was. As you stated, Trump is all about ratings. So he had to be totally pissed when he found out that he got the lowest rating ever in the history of that awards show. He's so pathetic. Did he really think that he was going to have high ratings with him hosting the event? I'm so glad the event flopped. Many would say it's not fair for the award recipients, while those recipients were all MAGA supporters. So all I can say is, oh well.
To get on the air and give us your feedback, go to dailycast.news/talk.
Let me ask you about the one that is probably most confusing to this committee, which is the planned gift of a plane to either the United States government or the president. Is it your understanding that this luxury plane that Qatar has offered the president, and the president has announced he is willing to accept, is a gift to the United States government, or is it a gift ultimately to the president himself that he can use in his library?
Well, you'd have to talk to the Department of Defense, because this is a replacement or at least a temporary bridge plane for Air Force One, the new Air Force One, which is way off its delivery schedule. And so that would have to be with the Air Force. They operate Air Force One. My understanding of it basically has been from the very beginning that this is a plane that was identified after talking to Boeing about what other planes around the world would fit the bill that are out there that could be used now. They identified the ones that Qataris had as an opportunity for one, and as a result, or the UAE had that as opportunity for one. And that's how that deal was.
And it's not your understanding that the plane ultimately will belong to the president or to the president's library after?
Well, I'm not involved at that level of it. I've never heard that before. What I've heard is that plane will replace Air Force One, which is an Air Force plane.
You listen to Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
Oh yeah! The only place to be.
I noticed that you had an online poll that asked when we thought the Trump regime would crumble. Why didn't you have the option of Tumblr? Like, that's what I would like. I didn't like the option of, it's never going to crumble. I refuse to believe that. All dictatorships crumble. I just don't want it to last as long as North Korea. We need to make sure that not only Trump himself crumbles, but the entire MAGA cult crumbles too. This is just a bad time in America. We need to get back to normal and live like we used to. Trump has got to go. The sooner the better. Thank you.
U.S. forces seized 2 oil tankers linked to Venezuela in bold ocean operations as President Trump outlined plans to sell the nation's crude.
The Navy captured one vessel in the North Atlantic and another in the Caribbean for breaking sanctions. Trump stated the U.S. would handle oil exports and ensure purchases of American goods with proceeds. Critics from Germany called the moves a values collapse, while polls showed split American views. Kyle Norris reporting.
More listener feedback from the Truthcast feedback line.
I'm glad that there is independent media to take over where the greedy corporate media has left off. When I see the CBS leader, MAGA cult member, shut down a 60-minute story because the bloated, sweaty, swollen orange thing demanded it, that was my last straw with watching mainstream media. They are all crooks. They are all greedy crooks. No more. 2026 brings in new light, and I've made the decision and commitment to watch and listen to independence only. Thank you, and peace out.
To get on the air and give us your feedback, go to dailycast.news/talk.
Bull is cool, just for audio professionals, for podcasters, radio stations, voiceover, and more. Go to www.bull.io. That's www.bull.io.
But one word turned the tide. called you traitor on TV. Oh, Marjorie, tell me who you gonna be. Who you gonna be. Empty chairs at your table, folks who used to take your calls. Now it's cold in the cloakroom, just your footsteps down the halls. You stare at that brass nameplate, finger tracing every line, thinking about a different doorway where your heart might finally shine. Oh, Marjorie, how's it feel to be alone in that gallery? Oh, Marjorie, oh, Marjorie. All the cheers turned to quiet so suddenly. You gave every fight, every breath, every plea, till he pointed at you. You packed up the papers, box by cardboard box, left your pin on the dresser like a broken pocket watch. All those late night speeches, all that thunder, all that fire, couldn't stand that, but now from the mouth you most admired. Oh, Marjorie, how's it feel to be alone in that gallery? Oh, Marjorie, oh, Marjorie. All the cheers turned to quiet so suddenly. You gave every fight, every breath, every plea. Who you gonna be?
And now, another low-energy Donnie break.
I had these animals trying to attack me at Mar-a-Lago. They went into my wife's closet, and I'll say this, number one, it's very bad, but it sounds a little strange. They looked at her drawers. You have drawer, and then you have drawer. They looked at both. And she's a very meticulous person, you know, like these people. It's just like she'd fit into your group very well. She'd be very happy with her. But everything is perfect. Her undergarments, I want to use a nice, sometimes referred to as panties, are folded, perfect, wrapped. They're like so perfect. I said, that's beautiful. You know, it's the part of the world she came from. Everything was perfect, no problem. Fold, fold, fold. I think that she steams them, makes sure. Just sitting. We came home. I wasn't there when the raid took place. A raid of a popular president, a former president. She opened the drawers and it was not that way. They were a mess. It was all over the place.
Keeping you informed. This is Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
What I think is amateurish behavior with respect to the treatment of our NATO allies. And it has to start with an interview that I saw with one of the president's senior policy advisors, Stephen Miller, on CNN a couple of nights ago. Mr. Miller said that the U.S. government, obviously, Greenland should be part of the U.S. That is absurd. We have to go back and take a look at the relationship to Greenland. And why am I coming to the floor, a senator from North Carolina? Because since 2018, I have been the Republican leader for the Senate NATO Observer Group. I've gone to every NATO conference. I've gone to the Security Conference. I've met with almost all of the leaders of the countries who are part of the 32-nation coalition known as NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Alliance Organization. Now let's talk about why I think it was an amateurish comment and something that a deputy chief of staff and senior policy advisor should not have taken the position on. Number one, he doesn't speak for the U.S. government. He speaks for the President of the United States, and on that basis he can. But when he says that the U.S. government thinks that Greenland should be a part of NATO, he should talk to people like me who have an election certificate and a vote in the U.S. Senate. Because I know what he either doesn't know or he should know, and if he did know, I can't imagine why he'd make the comments that he did the other night in a television interview. Let me give you some facts about Denmark, for example. Denmark, who has responsibility for Greenland, although Greenland is an autonomous territory under NATO. It's a part of the Kingdom of Denmark. But let's talk about Denmark for a minute. Denmark was one of NATO's most disproportionately high contributors in Afghanistan relative to its population size and force structure. What do I mean there? There's been one time in the 75-year history of NATO that the NATO allies responded to the Article 5 commitment, which means when one of our NATO allies are attacked, we go there to defend them. It's been exercised one time in the history of the alliance to come to the aid of the United States in the war on terror in Afghanistan. Since their first mission began, more than 18,000 Danish soldiers have deployed to Afghanistan with American and British forces. Throughout their deployments in Afghanistan, 43 of their soldiers lost their life fighting aside American soldiers defending our freedom.
Author Adam Clark Estes' month-long experiment quitting podcasts, which improved his focus and mental clarity. He explored how excessive podcast listening fills silence, hindering the brain's default mode network that supports reflection, planning, and daydreaming. Podcasts deplete mental energy akin to demanding tasks, increasing errors, fatigue, and stress during multitasking. Dailycast Newstalk Radio provides a completely different listening experience that doesn't drone on and steal your attention. Most of our segments range from 1 to 3 minutes while mixing in music, phone calls, and more. We don't rage, we engage. Give us a try and live your life.
How do you like us now? We're standing tall and standing proud. How do you like us now? Dailycast, turn it up loud. How do you like us now? How do you like us now? Dailycast Newstalk Radio. How do you like us now?
Donald Trump said that we, the United States of America, will be running the country of Venezuela. He literally said that the team of guys behind him would be in charge of a foreign country. That group was Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, John Ratcliffe, the CIA director, Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and Stephen Miller. So he's a viceroy now. I guess that collection of great minds is going to dictate terms to Maduro's former vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, who has since been sworn in as president, and I guess just run Venezuela as a vassal state through her, though Trump said he's not afraid to put U.S. boots on the ground. More of that in a bit. So this could be trending towards a military occupation. But first, Ben, I have to say, this is so much crazier than I ever could have expected. We've been watching this troop build up for a while. We've been covering this. We both, I think, felt like you don't amass 15,000 troops and a couple aircraft carriers in the Caribbean to do nothing. But Trump launching this capture operation against Maduro and then explicitly saying that his team of aides, including, Viceroys Rubio, Hegseth, Stephen Miller, are now going to run Venezuela until some transition point TBD is just batshit crazy. Trump is now overtly saying also that this was about taking back oil that was stolen from the United States. But yeah, I guess we now have a petro vassal state in South America, Ben. That's how we're starting 2026.
Apparently, Tommy, and Happy New Year to you and
thank you
and to the world here. There's the thing with Trump where you have to take him on his own terms, right? And the reality is he's been basically telling us who he wanted to be in his second term since he got elected. And keep in mind, one of the first things he started talking about after he was elected were Greenland and Panama. And the reason that's important is because, yes, that's not who was on the punch card today. But we are kind of moved from yesterday into today, from one era into a new era here, where the United States is back in the empire business in this hemisphere. And let's be clear, that's not hyperbole. Like, that's what he said. Now, you go through the roller coaster of the last few hours. It starts with this operation. It says, I'm saying to myself, okay, we're doing this now. Like we've been saying for months on this podcast, clearly this is about regime change.
You're listening to Stuck in the Middle radio show with Violet and Butter.
I just wanted to share my frustration with my HOA. I have a neighbor that hangs his MAGA flag in the front of his home. The homeowner's rules clearly state that the only flag we can hang is the American flag. I have complained several times to the HOA. I finally got a letter with a response stating that they have made an exception to the MAGA flag out of respect to the president. I then hung a Democrat flag in the front of my house. A few days later, I get a warning letter stating that I'm not following HOA regulations and I must remove the flag or face a hefty penalty fee. This is outrageous. I live in a conservative area of town, and this kind of crap is going on all over the place. What can I do? I now notice that MAGA neighbor laughs at me when he sees me. It's so frustrating.
Hi, I just had to call in after hearing that last caller. Seriously, are we living on Mars right now? Did I miss some giant spaceship that just took us to another planet? I mean, am I the only one that thinks this is absolutely bonkers? These MAGA folk are living in some alternate reality. My brother-in-law is one of those people. Christmas dinner is like visiting a cult meeting. He gets the hats, the flags, the whole 9 yards. I ask him basic questions about policy, and he just starts talking about how Trump could beat any president in a fist fight. What does that even mean? I honestly don't get how people can be so gullible. They believe everything that comes out of his mouth. He could tell them the sky is green and they'll start seeing emeralds up there. And then they'd buy the sky green merchandise from his website for $49.99. My neighbor nearly burnt down his garage trying gold-plate it. He tried to gold-plate his toilet. True story. Look, I'm just a regular guy trying to make some sense of all this, but when I hear people like this last caller and my neighbor and my brother-in-law, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I mean, are we really supposed to believe a billionaire who's never waited in line at the DMV or worried about medical bills understands the common folk? Sure, and I'm the king of Norway. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just had to call in before my head exploded.
Gimme. Down in Texas, America on a Tuesday. She got red count, said let's make a stand. Doing to a ride, the flags were flying, but just can't seem to get off mine. I'm in the MAGA cult, the mess of rocking, I know, yeah. Yeah, give me, yeah, I'm that blues.
This is News in 60 with Alan Edwards.
Tension boiled over in Minneapolis after an immigration agent fatally shot a local woman, sparking protests and clashes with police near a federal building.
The officer fired during an encounter where officials claim the driver tried to hit them with her car.
Iran's foreign minister declared in Beirut that his nation desires no conflict with the United States or Israel, but stands fully prepared to strike back.
He arrived for a 2-day visit to Lebanon amid heightened tensions from recent U.S. bombings of nuclear facilities.
China blasted Japan's leader for comments hinting hinting at military aid to Taiwan if Beijing acts aggressively. Joseph Eckerson reports.
The foreign ministry urged Tokyo to correct its errors and stop meddling in internal matters.
U.S. forces seized 2 oil tankers linked to Venezuela in bold ocean operations as President Trump outlined plans to sell the nation's crude.
The Navy captured 1 vessel in the North Atlantic and another in the Caribbean for breaking sanctions.
You know what's amazing? The human capacity for rationalization. No matter what happens with prices or the economy, Trump supporters have an excuse ready to go. It's like they have a whole excuse assembly line running 24/7. Eggs cost $12 a dozen? Well, that's because the chickens are getting premium organic feed now. Trump cares about chicken welfare. Gas hits $8 a gallon? He's weaning us off foreign oil. This is part of his master plan to make America energy independent by forcing us all to ride bicycles. Your rent doubles overnight? That's just the free market working. Supply and demand, baby. Trump's teaching us economics the hard way. These folks could be paying $20 for a loaf of bread, and they'd be like, you know what? This bread tastes more patriotic. I can taste the freedom in every overpriced bite. The loyalty is honestly impressive. It's like a cult, except instead of Kool-Aid, they're drinking $50 smoothies and calling it economic policy. Sure, my grocery bill went from $100 to $400 a week, but have you seen how confident Trump looks? That's the kind of leadership that's worth bankruptcy. They've got an excuse for everything. Inflation hits 15%. That's not inflation. That's prosperity pricing. We're so successful. Everything costs more. Your paycheck gets you half of what it used to? Trump's teaching us to be more resourceful. Ramen noodles for dinner builds character. Housing becomes completely unaffordable. He's encouraging family values. 3 generations in a studio apartment brings people together. The mental gymnastics are Olympic level. These people could skip the landing on any excuse. Yes, I'm living in my car, but look at this beautiful parking lot Trump's policies created. So much space for automotive housing. They've turned suffering into a badge of honor. I may not be able to afford food, but at least I'm owning the libs while I starve.
You're listening to Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
Welcome to Stuck in the Middle radio show with Alan Edwards, my silly little freaks. Glad to have you back. Glad to be back. Let's get right into it and talk about the corrosive corruption going on in the Trump administration, right-wing media, and the MAGA movement. I affectionately call it PPP, the Pedophile Protection Party. Remember what that great swollen orange one said about child traffickers during his campaign? Well, if you don't remember it, let me remind you.
Death penalty for drug dealers and anyone guilty of child or woman sex trafficking, which they are doing at numbers which are massive.
So now Trump, Bondi, Newsmax, and MAGA are calling Maxwell a victim. Some of them on X are calling her a hero. You know, this is ridiculous. Does she sound like a hero or a victim? Now listen to this ridiculous narrative that I guess was started by Newsmax and was taken over by people on X, but this kind of launched it, and it's just unbelievable what these guys are doing to turn around to try to save their orange one.
Yeah, what is this all about? And she's also been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right. Granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that's apparently not good. But she's in jail for how long now? 20 years. A 20-year sentence.
So does this sound like a hero or a victim? Well, she's I'm not going to say it. Victims testified under oath that Maxwell sexually abused them with Epstein. Victims testified under oath that she recruited them and schooled them on how to give sexualized massages to Epstein. Victims testified that she took their passports, so they became basically prisoners on the island. Maxwell was convicted of sex trafficking. She is a sex trafficker. She was convicted. But yet they have changed the whole narrative on X and on all the right-wing medias, basically to just simply save the bloated orange one.
Spilled your drink on your best new shoes. Boss been talking in circles since noon. Traffic jam and your rent is due. You're stuck in line with a lukewarm view, but hit that mirror, fix that collar, slide that shoulder, make it pop. If you can't change the story, change the channel, make it stop. It could be worse. You could be listening to Fox News, shake off the hurt. Let the rhythm be your truth. It could be worse. You could be listening to Fox News, turn up the earth. Yeah, spend the night, you get to choose. Your ex walked in with somebody new. Phone lights up with a "we need to talk to." DJ drops your least favorite tune, then flips the switch. Now the floor's in bloom. So hit that mirror, fix that collar, slide that shoulder, make it pop. If you can mute the madness, drown it out and let it dry up. You could be listening to pop, shake off the hurt. Be your truth. It could be worse. You could be listening to Fox News, turn up the earth. Yeah, spend the night, hands up high for the good confusion. Dance it out past the cheap illusion. If they sell you fear, we'll sell them groove. Change the station, change the mood. It could be worse. It could be worse. It could be worse. You could be listening to Fox News, shake off the hurt.
This is Dailycast Newstalk Radio. And now, another low-energy Donnie break.
I had perfect health. And they reported his health is perfect. And they interpret that. And the fake news interprets when the doctor says he's got perfect health, they go, what does he mean by perfect? There's something wrong with the president. These people are sick.
And now, another 2 minutes of relaxation. Breathe and enjoy.
This is breaking news.
Following a bold military intervention that removed President Nicolas Maduro from office and transported him out of Venezuela on Saturday, President Donald Trump announced that the United States would assume temporary control of the nation and utilize its substantial petroleum resources for international trade.
This decisive move represented the culmination of sustained pressure from the Trump administration against the South American nation and its authoritarian government, following months of covert preparations that constituted the most aggressive U.S. effort at forcing governmental change since the Iraq invasion 2 decades earlier. In remarks to the press following Maduro's apprehension, Trump outlined his intentions to take advantage of the power vacuum to repair the country's petroleum industry and distribute significant quantities of crude oil to international buyers.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not.
Venezuela's second-in-command responded with a public address insisting on Maduro's release and affirming his legitimacy as the nation's president. Maduro, along with his spouse, taken into custody during a nighttime raid at their residence on a military installation, were traveling on a U.S. naval vessel bound for New York, where they would face criminal charges related to a Justice Department indictment alleging their involvement in narcotics trafficking and terrorism.
This is breaking news. I'm Alan Edwards.
We're dealing with an invasive species by the name of Donald Trump. He is an historic president, however. Historically unpopular president. Why else did he feel the need to rig the election before even one vote was cast? That's just weakness. Weakness masquerading as strength. That's Donald Trump. You talk about why the founding fathers lived and died. You talk about why we're all here. The best of the Roman Republic, best of Greek democracy, co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty, the rule of law, not the rule of Don. And it's dawning on people all across the United States of America what's at stake. And you put a stake in the ground. People are showing up. I don't believe in crowns, thrones, no kings. And people all across this country are waking up because you had the courage to step up at a time when we were desperate for leadership. We were. I say it all the time, it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to what happens to us. And you responded. Did we show up? There were lines around the block 2 hours after polling had stopped because people wanted to be heard, not just seen. They wanted to send a message. You didn't roll over and you didn't give in. You stepped up and you traveled, as Gene said, all across the United States of America, and you woke us up. You had our back in the state of California. We were looking for a fight, not only that we can win, but a fight worth fighting for. And that is why I'm here.
A clever shelter dog in West Virginia amazed staff by slipping out of his kennel and unlocking the front door to freedom in a daring overnight escape caught on camera. Workers at the animal center shared the funny video showing the pup's smart moves. He wandered the halls but stayed safe until found outside. The feat highlighted his talents and boosted adoption interest. Rescuers praised his spirit and hoped for a loving home soon. Andy Sanchez reporting.
I am so stressed. I'm tired of hearing about Trump. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of MAGA. They are destroying this country, and I don't understand why they believe Trump is doing good. He's a mess. They're a mess.
They're really stressing me out. It's disgusting. It's gross. I need to mentally refresh, and I can't do so if I continue to go on social media and see that large, gross old man spewing his hate. I can't wait for 2028. He needs to be impeded now.
The left. Moderates and independents unite. This is Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
Woke up this morning, head on the floor, MAGA dreams shattered, can't take no more. Promised the wall, jobs raining down, but economy's tanking, we're all gonna drown. Epstein files, he flipped like a flop. H-1B visas, stealing our jobs. Rambling speeches, sounding like crap. Approvals in the shitter, time to bail on this trap. I'm out, Trump, you old prick. Screwed us over, now we're feeling sick. No more red hats, no more cold chance. Your tiny hands couldn't deliver, now we're taking a stance. I'm out, baby, packing my bags. You don't give a fuck, just tweeting your brags. Billionaire golf boy, can't relate to my pain. We're leaving your ass in the pouring rain. In the pouring rain. Yeah. Thought you drained the swamp, but it's deeper than hell. Reversals on everything, ringing the bell. MAGA faithful crying out what I expected. Your base is unraveling, feeling rejected. Cordial with elites while we eat dirt. Frustrated nostalgia, man, that shit hurts. AOP insiders calling you abysmal. Your naughty list growing, it's all so dismal. I'm out, Trump, you old prick. Screwed us over, now we're feeling sick. No more red hats, no more cold chains. Your tiny hands couldn't deliver, now we're taking a stance. I'm out, baby, packing my bags. You don't give a fuck, just tweeting your brags. Billionaire golf boy, can't relate to my pain. We're leaving your ass in the pouring rain. You promised the moon, delivered a fart. Collapsing like your hair in the windstorm start. We were loyal as dogs, humping your leg, but you kicked us aside. Now we're begging to beg. No care for the workers, just your ego parade. MAGA's dying wish we should have stayed away. So long, Donnie, we're done with your game. Your coat's falling apart, and you're the one to blame. I'm out. Yeah, we're out. Fuck this shit, we're out.
More listener feedback from the Truthcast feedback line.
I'm sure you've been hearing what I'm going to say like a broken record. So here it goes again. When the hell are our Democratic leaders going to start doing something, anything about what the Trump administration is doing to this country? What is it going to take? What do we do? It's becoming frustrating watching our leaders sit there and accept everything Trump is doing and making no effort to fight it. Any ideas? Suggestions? We are all becoming impatient.
For the caller who's whining about everything Trump is doing, come on over to the other side. Our great Trump is doing an amazing job, and he definitely making America great again. Our great leader lowered egg prices, lowered gas prices, is making it easier to buy homes. He has done everything as promised. I'm not sure why the radical leftist doesn't see it. America is in the golden age. Enjoy it.
I remember back in the day when we Americans got along with one another. Neighbors talked, co-workers got along. Family used to get along during the holidays. Now, since Donald Trump has come along, the fighting, arguing, and bitterness is an epidemic in this country. We no longer get along with our neighbors. Most people cannot spend holidays together. People no longer even say hello to each other. All this because Trump wants to be a dictator and rip off his followers as much as he can. He's doing this for his own self-gain, and his followers just don't get it. It's going to take a long time before we get over this Trump hurdle. I'm not sure. When all is done and said, what kind of damage this man is going to do.
To get on the air and give us your feedback, go to dailycast.news/talk.
I'm busy. What do you want?
I just wanted to say, yo, mama.
So let me get this straight. You called just to say that?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Yo, Mama.
Okay, thanks for calling.
You're listening to Dailycast Newstalk Radio. He's picking out chandeliers of gold while I'm checking if my bread has mold. Marble floors in every shade. I'm buying ramen on parade. There's a ballroom in the White House, baby. 20-foot ceilings, crystal bright. While I'm doing math at the grocery store, maybe. Can I afford to eat tonight? He's got a DJ booth and disco ball. I've got coupons plastered on my wall. His champagne fountains flowing free. I'm splitting one egg into three. There's a ballroom in the White House, baby. Gold-plated this and platinum that. While I'm playing grocery store Jenga crazy. Beans or rice, I'll take the They say let them eat cake, but I can't afford the bake. Just watching renovation shows while my bank account hits new lows. There's a ballroom in the White House, shining with a floor that costs more than my car. While I'm in the checkout line declining, that avocado's gone too In the press room, lights are bright. We ask a question, polite and tight. But Donnie's face turns red as hell. He snarls and spits, rings the insult bell. You're fake news, you low-life hack. Your mom's a dog, your dad's a quack. We just want facts, not this crap. But he unloads like a thunderclap. Why does he always insult us, call us scum, say we're full of pus? Pissy little questions make him blow. Grab his ego, watch the tantrum show. You're a fat pig, your breath is rank. Go suck a lemon, you call me skank. Why does he always insult us? 'Cause his dick's small and he's full of fuss. Jim Acosta steps up to the mic. Mr. President, what's with the hike? Trump leans in with that orange glare. You're a loser, go comb your hair. April Ryan asks about the wall. He yells, sit down, you're 5 feet tall. We probe on taxes, he flips the script. Calls us whores, says we're full of shit. Why does he always insult us, call us scum, say we're full of pus? Pissy little questions make him blow. Grab his ego, watch the tantrum show. You're a fat pig, your breath is rank. Go suck the lemon, you call me skank. Why does he always insult us? 'Cause his dick's small and he's full of fuss. Oh, Donnie boy, your spray tan's peeling. Your hair's a nest, your gut's revealing. We just do our job, report the truth, but you lash out like a pissed off youth. Call us nasty, dumb and sleazy while you tweet storms, feeling queasy. One day we'll laugh when you're gone away, but till then, here's what we say. Why does he always insult us? 'Cause deep down, he's jealous of us. Big bad wolf with a tiny bark, hiding his fears in the oval dark. You're a fat pig, your breath is rank, but we keep asking you orange crack. Why does he always insult us? it's hilarious.
You're listening to Dailycast Newstalk Radio, a new way to get your news. How do you like us now?
We're Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
And now, it's time for another MAGA What the F.
And you listed a lot of those things, and you know, the lower inflation and gas prices are key to all of that. But there is polling that shows that there remains some frustration among consumers or voters. What does the White House have to do to reach those people or make changes so that those people feel better? And obviously they're getting lied to by the media, which has always been a problem for Republicans. But what can the White House do to either fix things so that they feel better or convince them that the situation is better?
Well, I think the most important point of all, and look, the polling shows overwhelming support for President Trump across every single issue and dimension.
Bullshit.
Bob here from Tampa. You know what? Trump's doing exactly what he promised, putting America first with these trade policies and cleaning house in the swamp. Yeah, the establishment's freaking out about his cabinet picks and executive orders, but that's because he's not playing their games. We voted for disruption, not business as usual. The man keeps his promises, unlike career politicians.
China blasted Japan's leader for comments hinting at military aid to Taiwan if Beijing acts aggressively, Joseph Eckerson reports.
The foreign ministry urged Tokyo to correct its errors and stop meddling in internal matters. Beijing imposed export curbs on items usable for defense and launched a probe into cheap chemical imports from Japan. A state group accused Japan of hiding nuclear goals and risking global stability.
Iran's foreign minister declared in Beirut that his nation desires no conflict with the United States or Israel, but stands fully prepared to strike back.
He arrived for a 2-day visit to Lebanon amid heightened tensions from recent U.S. bombings of nuclear facilities and Israeli killings of top officials. Iran remains open to talks on its atomic program if based on equal terms without demands. Officials stress that past attacks ended in defeat and vow readiness for all possibilities. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Tension boiled over in Minneapolis after an immigration agent fatally shot a local woman, sparking protests and clashes with police near a federal building.
The officer fired during an encounter where officials claimed the driver tried to hit them with her car. City leaders disputed that account based on video and demanded a fair probe. State officials said federal agents blocked their access to evidence needed for charges. Lawrence Keller reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The Senate pushed forward a measure to restrict President Trump's armed actions in Venezuela.
5 Republicans crossed lines to join Democrats in advancing the resolution for debate. Trump slammed the move as harmful to national security on social media. Lawmakers sought to reclaim control over military decisions in the region. Kevin Sanders reporting.
States geared up for tough choices on health care and food aid programs after a major federal law shifted more costs their way.
Governors and lawmakers weighed options like work rules for medical coverage and handling extra administrative fees. Some areas planned to match tax breaks on tips, while others braced for cuts in benefits. Experts warned of rising uninsured rates and strained resources ahead. Jessica Oakley reporting.
President Trump stunned markets with surprise post barring big investors from buying family homes and capping defense firm pay until they speed up military deliveries.
Stocks tumbled as housing shares dropped sharply in response to the housing limit aimed at easing prices. Defense companies faced bans on dividends and buybacks under the new rules. Investors reacted with concern over the sudden policy shifts from the White House. Liam White reporting.
U.S. forces seized 2 oil tankers linked to Venezuela in bold ocean operations as President Trump outlined plans to sell the nation's crude.
The Navy captured 1 vessel in the North Atlantic and another in the Caribbean for breaking sanctions. Trump stated the U.S. would handle oil exports and ensure purchases of American goods with proceeds. Critics from Germany called the moves a values collapse, while polls showed split American views. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards. And now, It's time for another MAGA What the F.
Okay, the way President Trump is thinking about it is if you're building a data center, you're going to give GIVE power to the grid and drive the energy costs of everybody around that data center lower. Donald Trump is going to bring lower energy prices everywhere that a big company, one of these big tech companies, builds a big data center. They're going to lower the price of energy in the entire area around it. That's what makes us all one team. Win the AI race, but drive down electricity costs in the area around those data centers so the people who live near those data centers are winners.
Bullshit. And now, another MAGA reality slap.
Trump lives the life of the chronic bullshitter. You know, he's got his powder down, he goes out, he sells a good line, but every so often, the chickens come home to roost. You know, people say, well, you promised me this, where is it? You know, and that, you know, he ran for office again saying, I'm going to fix the economy and I'm going to make everything better and we're going to be respected in the world and I'm going to be a peacemaker and so on and so forth. And the reality is you can get all the made up trophies from FIFA and other people you want, and you can have your cabinet say that, you know, you're handsome and you have a six-pack and all that kind of stuff. But what does it mean for regular people? And the problem is, this ties to your prior question, over the next year, what are you going to see? You're going to see prices go up. You're going to see the economy slow down. You're going to see that the services you got from the Veterans Administration are not as available to you anymore. You're going to see the cost of your health care double or triple or quadruple, you know, and that you're not going to be able to actually afford your health care. If your kid got picked up on a school bus because they're disabled, you're going to see that that program is canceled. If you look outside your window, and you're living in most American cities these days, you're going to see ICE rounding up your neighbor or rounding up somebody who works in your neighborhood, dragging them off, whether they're an American citizen or they're not, whether they did anything wrong or not, whether they're contributing to the community or not. And that's going to add up. And I think that that's why the year is going to be terrible. And it's just doubly terrible for Donald Trump because despite all his efforts to put his thumb on the scale of the elections, there will be an election next year.
Broadcasting live, 24 hours a day, for Democrats, moderates, and independents. This is Dailycast Newstalk Radio.
More listener feedback from the Truthcast feedback line.
I'm glad that there is independent media to take over where the greedy corporate media has left off. When I see the CBS leader, MAGA cult member, shut down a 60-minute story because the bloated, sweaty, swollen orange thing demanded it, that was my last straw with watching mainstream media. They are all crooks. They are all greedy crooks. No more. 2026 brings in new light, and I've made the decision and commitment to watch and listen to independents only. Thank you, and peace out.
To get on the air and give us your feedback, go to dailycast.news/talk.
When I think about FISA, you know what I really think about? I think about affordability. And the hoax of affordability, okay? Because, you know, and perhaps someone should tell the president that every time he says affordability is a hoax, like another Democrat like sprouts out of the ground and like lands in the House of Representatives, and eventually we'll get a gavel. And if he doesn't like saying affordability, that's fine. We can come up with another word. If he doesn't want to say that things are unaffordable, we could just say things are expensive. We could agree to just say that instead. We could just say things are expensive instead of unaffordable. I really want to talk to the person who puts the words into the teleprompter, because this is like a Ron Burgundy situation. Like every time he says affordability is a hoax,
will the gentleman yield?
In a second, let me do this and then I will yield. But like every time he says affordability is a hoax, I mean, it's like saying go F yourself, San Diego, okay? Or is it San Diego? You know, scholars say the translation was lost long ago. There's no partisanship on the grocery store bill. I know what you're saying, Jared. Be honest. Tell the other side of the coin. Okay, gasoline prices are down, right? See, I'm being fair. Gasoline prices are down, and that's great. Getting energy prices down is important. But, they're not as down as much as he's projecting. But the problem is you can't eat gasoline, right? Can't eat gasoline unless, of course, Kennedy proposed that as some sort of way to get rid of COVID.
Denmark's prime minister has issued a forceful rebuke to President Donald Trump, demanding an end to American rhetoric about acquiring Greenland. The statement follows renewed attention on Trump's expansionist ambitions and comments from Katie Miller, wife of senior presidential advisor Stephen Miller. In a Sunday post on X, Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen delivered an unambiguous message to Washington. It makes absolutely no sense to talk about the United States needing to take over Greenland, she declared. The U.S. has no right to annex one of the 3 countries in the Danish kingdom. Greenland's own leadership also pushed back against the American president's territorial ambitions. Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen emphasized his nation's sovereignty in a separate statement. Our country is not an object of superpower rhetoric. We are a people, a country, a democracy. This has to be respected. The diplomatic tension intensified after Trump doubled down on his position in a Sunday interview with Hard the Atlantic. When questioned about his persistent calls to acquire the Arctic territory, the president framed the matter as essential to American interests. We do need Greenland, absolutely, Trump said. We need it for defense, Laura Michaels reporting.
Yeah. Cameras flash. Clock a move. Same old speech, same old news. Clock on the wall, keep spinning, they stall. Hearings, meetings, all talk. Roll call, everybody point fingers like it's sports season. Whole block needs help, they debate reasons. Bills stack up, dust on the folder. Grandma can't pay for her meds, getting older. They argue in suits, we argue in line. They go on recess, we run out of time. Congress is failing, we out here waiting. Rent past due and the roof still raining. Talk, 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 but the check ain't changing. Congress is failing. Whole town saying if they won't move and the streets start swaying. Talk, 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 but the clock's still banging. They pass the blame, then they pass vacation. We pass due, stressing the whole nation. Kids in the lunch line sharing a plate. They hold a fundraiser, calling it fake. Lobby calls ring, that's priority one. While a vet on the corner can't face the sun. They swear they care every time they're campaigning. But once they win, man, the signal keep fading. Congress is failing, we out here waiting. Rent past due and the roof still raining. Talk, 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 but the check ain't changing. Congress is failing. Whole town saying if they won't move and the streets start swaying. Talk, 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 but the clock's still banging. Stand up, name names, who signs, who flames. Write down every empty vow, every dodge, every knot right now. We the ones that they keep sidelining. We the ones that they keep defining. Congress is failing. Congress is failing. Congress is failing. Congress is failing.
According to official French government records, actor George Clooney and his family have officially become citizens of France. This comes after Clooney expressed worries about exposing his kids to the intense spotlight of Hollywood life. A recent Gazette publication from Saturday, detailing newly approved naturalizations, lists Clooney alongside his wife, Amal Clooney, and their twins, Alexander and Ella. Clooney, who retains his American citizenship, and Amal, a British-Lebanese human rights attorney, have strong ties to France already. While they own properties in England and close to his relatives in Kentucky, their main home is a French farm, as Clooney shared with the New York Times back in February. Having grown up in Kentucky, my dream was to escape farm life and that whole world, he explained to the outlet. Yet here I am, embracing it again, operating a tractor and handling all that comes with it. It offers the greatest shot at a regular existence. He echoed these thoughts during an October Esquire interview. I had concerns about bringing up our children in Los Angeles, surrounded by Hollywood's environment, Clooney noted. It seemed like they'd never have an equal opportunity in life. In France, people just don't care much about celebrity status, he continued. I didn't want them constantly on edge about photographers or being judged against other celebrity offspring, he added.
GigNewton.com is the place to sell and trade professional online services. Gigs for digital services at huge discounts. Go to GigNewton.com and create your free account today.
This is the most consequential technology in the history of humanity. It will transform our country. It will transform the world. And we have not had in Congress, in the media, and I'm glad you're doing this show, or among the American people, the kind of discussion that we need. Some examples. First of all, who is pushing this revolution in technology? It is the